Golden Apricot International Film Festival in Yerevan, Armenia. She is based there. And today we're going to be talking to her about film curating and a little bit about the festival itself. So let's bring Diana.
Hey, hello, hello everyone.
Hello. Hello. I hope I got your name right that time. I'm not sure.
Diana Martirosyan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Diana
Yeah.
is international part
Yeah.
of my
Yeah.
name. Last
Yeah.
name is national. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Diana, why don't you just give our viewers a little bit about yourself? I've introduced you, but just talk a little bit about yourself, and then we can get into the conversation from there.
So I started as a and it was kind of the thing I do all my life, cultural journalism. Then I started to interested more like into cinema world and as a like kind of a writer, like a journalist. I started to write about movies, like start my career as a reviewer, observer. You can call it whatever you want, and so my first experience like started with writing about cinema, about some local Armenian stuff, about some international things. Then, like, I started to organize movie screenings. The thing is that unfortunately in Armenia we do not have art house theaters, like movies where you can watch author cinema, film festival stuff. Our like cinemas are for commercial movies only, and there is a lack of film festival stuff for not big audience, but there is an audience. There is an audience interested in European cinema, Asian cinema, some indie films, maybe American, Russian, whatever. So I started to organize weekly film screenings, movies, which we can't watch, we don't have at our local theaters. So yeah, that's how I started. Then it was like Golden Apricot, TV show, radio show, and many websites where we can reach our audience.
I forgot to mention that you're also involved heavily in the online entertainment world in Armenia, and you provide your opinions and your views for a lot of entertainment sites as well, right?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the first part of your question.
Oh, no, I just said that I forgot to mention that you are also involved in the online entertainment news gathering and reporting in Armenia as well, right? And that's something that you do as well.
Uh, you mean online coverage of?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. It's mainly online now because Armenian audience is more like, if we talk about like active young generation, it's more into online than offline. If we talk about coverage of entertainment world, coverage of cinema, of I don't know, like theater and that kind of stuff.
Okay, and do you focus primarily on cinema, or is it like a broad view of entertainment?
No, I'm focused on cinema. I'm focused on cinema, but during this, you know, due to COVID, due to
COVID, yeah.
quarantine time, it's like I like to talk about other stuff as well. Like I adore cinema. It's my passion, but there are also other topics. Like, but it's more kind of like a second, I don't want to say hobby, but it's more like my second activity. Yeah, main activity is cinema, but unfortunately, as we all know, it's
Mm.
quite difficult to earn money like only about cinema. It's
Just about cinema, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think
It's
it's a common issue for many
Yep,
countries.
yeah. I think
So yes,
all over it's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes we organize screenings, we organize festivals, we organize some events, we organize some discussions, panel discussions, maybe some we invite some people to have screenings and Q&A after that. um, I don't think that it's like very different for you. I think in many countries, like where we live, it's very common. And also, I have many colleagues in Italy, for example, and they do everything. They write, they have some shows, they have blogs, many activities.
So, one activity that you've mentioned is the film screenings and curating. I'm very interested to learn more about this side of things from you. So, let me just start off by how you sort of got into curating. I know that you started off as a journalist and you were writing, but was that, was it a natural progression for you to just get into curating? Why did you choose curating, for films?
Yeah, as I mentioned in the beginning, we don't have cinemas where we can watch art house movies, independent movies, movies from big festivals or small festivals. So it's not that popular. It's not popular for local commercial cinemas because it's not good for commercial stuff. So I thought that we need to have a place where we can show movies of, I don't know, for example, Terrence Malick, of Woody Allen, or some selected movies which are not brought for our cinemas. So we have very old, like the first cinema in Yerevan, in Armenia. It called Moscow Cinema. It called Moscow Cinema because it was built, established during Soviet period of Armenia. So we still have it, Moscow Cinema. It's in the center of Yerevan, the capital of Armenia. And there is it's a huge place. It's a big building, and there is some cafes inside. So I started to show weekly author movies in that cafe, second floor of it. So it was. I started in 2011, if I'm not mistaken. So like 9 years ago. Also, I used to organize some stuff in small halls of that Moscow cinema. For example, I remember first movie was Big Lebowski of Coen Brothers. We brought the copy of it and we wanted to show it in English. So it was like that. We showed that kind of stuff, Jim Jarmusch, Tarantino, some movies which we can't watch on big screen. Yeah, so we started to organize that kind of stuff, and we started to organize some movie quizzes, to interest people, uh, cinephiles, movie lovers, people who are interested in cinema. Yeah, to create kind of a community and build that kind of networking.
And so, can you talk us through what the day-to-day, life is for a curator? Like, how do you source the films? Primarily, where are you getting that information? Because it's quite difficult, and it's the waters can be quite murky in terms of getting the rights to show films, or
Yeah.
especially public screening and stuff like that. So, how do you go about that?
For example, this if we talk about some recent stuff. I was 2 years ago. I was in Berlin during Berlinale. Then I was in Kiev for Kiev International Film Festival called Molodest. I was a pre-press jury there. So, for example, there I met filmmaker. Who his name is Marcelo Martinesi, and he has a great movie called Las Herederas. For example, I was very interested to show that film in Yerevan. We didn't take it for Golden Apricot, but it was in my mind. I was like, I want to show it. I want to share it with some people who follow me, who like trust my taste, my professional taste, my professional choice. So when I met him in Kiev, I got his contact. When I came back to Yerevan, I have a place where I can still show some movies. It's like kind of a um, like workplace cafe and workplace. So there is a good screen, there is a good techniques and good audio and video system. So I, for example, I write him and I ask that, you know, I want to show it's public screening. It's for like students, filmmakers. We paid for rights and we showed the film. After that, we had a Q&A with him. So this is how it works. You go to festivals, you go to Berlinale, you go to Venice or other more smaller festivals. You build contacts, you find people, you exchange contacts, and then you come to Yerevan and think, okay, I have these contacts, I have seen these movies, 30 movies, 40 movies. So I can choose something, I can propose something if they are interested. Of course, it's also about money. If they ask for, I know, big fee for rights, I don't think that we can afford it. Yeah, because we try to do it free for people. Like they many people, they're students, they don't have much money, or it's a problem because we have websites, Russian websites, where you can watch movies for free. So it's a cultural thing. We need to educate people to pay for cultural stuff, for movies, for songs, for books, you know. Uh, so that's a bit complicated. Some people prefer to watch it online for free, then go to some movie clubs and watch it by paying.
It's it's interesting that you brought that up. You know, where people can stream movies or download them for free, which is something which happens globally. And I think that, you know, and that's a similarity that Armenia and Pakistan have, where it's difficult to get people to come out and watch films which, you know, one would say that, you know, aren't commercial in their
I'm sorry, I can't hear
that
you.
you some issues with the internet. Is it better now?
Yes, so I lost, I'm sorry, I lost connection. I don't know, is it my problem or
No, I'm having it on my side as well. I don't know,
your side is
but
okay? So do you hear me from?
it's I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so it's good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, the thing is, the problem is, the main issue is that we don't have distribution in Armenia. we
Okay.
don't we don't have distributors. We can't translate movies into Armenian. So a Russian distributor buy movies for region, for
Hmm.
CIS region, post-Soviet region, and we take movies from Russian distributors. And in Armenian cinemas, they show movies in Russian, original language or Russian. So
I
the
understand. Yeah.
majority is Russian, minority is English for some selected movies. So that's the problem. We don't have distribution. We don't have Armenian voiceover.
Hmm.
So we are connected to Russian distributors, and if they don't buy a film we want to have, we can't have it. That's the problem. If we want to have movie for festival, of course we write directly to worldwide distribution, and we have movies in original language, French, Spanish, English, etc. And we translate. We pay for translation by, so festivals have some translators, or we some order some people to translate it uh, without voiceover subtitles, Armenian subtitles. But it's an issue because people are not used to watch movies with subtitles. Not
Hmm.
everyone is like, I don't know what's about Pakistan, but in Armenia, like people say, we want to hear, we don't want to read. That's a
Yeah,
problem for some
it's.
people.
I think it's the same in Pakistan where they wouldn't want to read subtitles. You know, it's I think that's a
I'm
huge
sorry.
benefit. Oh, can you hear
I will,
me?
I will, I will, I will fix it. 1 second. I'm coming close to Wi-Fi connection to
Oh, okay.
have a strong connection because I want to hear you clearly. Так. I'm sorry.
No, no, that's fine.
Mhm, mhm.
Is that better now?
Okay. Yeah,
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 okay. So yeah, like I was saying that in Pakistan, that it's a similar situation where people don't want to read subtitles. So in the cinemas, you normally just see English movies. You know, generally, and when I say English, it's Hollywood, or even if it's coming out of England, it'll be the biggest, movies out of there. Ideally, co-production between the US and England, or you would have Indian movies. But at the moment those are banned. But those are the only two things, and then you would obviously have the Pakistani films. So I think that's the whole sort of uh, the the negative attitude that most people have towards reading subtitles. I think that stops him from watching so many more movies that can change the perspective or give them a new way of looking at different things, and
yeah.
just seeing quality stories. Um, because for us, that everybody in Pakistan, well, not everybody, but primarily a lot of people can speak the language, or they can understand it. But generally, they would just watch Indian or Pakistani movies. Uh, so, like I said, I think that's a similarity that our countries have.
Yeah.
Um, but that well, when you say that you would get those for the festival, do you mean like just the golden apricot, or do you mean even for your screenings as a curator?
So we like we do both. We do both. Usually, like as a film critic, as a journalist, you cover. You have some interviews. You write some reviews. Sometimes you are the only one Armenian who visited that festival. You visit Berlinale or some big festivals, Venice, and you are the only one Armenian. So you can ask some local outlets, ask some local websites, guys, do you want this stuff? Are you interested? And if they are interested, they will pay you. It's not enough. It's not cover. It's not. It couldn't cover your traveling and everything, but yeah, you can of course earn some money. And in the perfect world, film festival covers your travel,
Hmm.
uh, everything what you spend. But I don't think that we are in that position in Armenia. So we try to find some sponsorships. We try to collaborate with some people, do some maybe social media posts for them, that kind of stuff. So we try to build that culture because uh, unfortunately during Soviet period it was different. It was Soviet system, and people couldn't travel for big festivals in Europe, in Asia. It was like closed society. So it was like the biggest film festival was Moscow Film Festival. But now it's a class festival, but it's not that big and great as it was before. So now I think my generation is the generation which creates that kind of relationship between editors and journalists. We are trying to explain that we want to do this. It's important. It's important for Armenia. It's interesting. It's exciting. Why not? But unfortunately, it also connects with the local field of cinema. Armenian cinema is not that big. It's not that competitive. So we are like now just building that kind of system for us. Uh, it's more easier. It's much more easier for journalists who write about sport because we have good sportmen, guys in worldwide business market, how you call it. But
Hmm.
in international film society, we now right now we don't have big names. We used to have Sergei Parajanov, but
Yeah.
he is like the name Armenian from Georgia. He used to live in Ukraine, so it's an international Soviet name. We have Peresyan. He is the biggest documentary filmmaker, but he's not that popular because he's more for author cinema lovers. He's documentalist, so it's not that
Hmm.
mainstream, you know. So I hope that the generation which is coming, guys who are 20 something, they will collaborate with international companies, Asian, European, American, etc. And they will, I don't know, if we can say it, put Armenia higher on higher position in worldwide market.
Because you're saying that you worked as a curator, or you've been curating films for about 9 years now, correct?
Yes, yes, about 8 9 years
8 9 years.
approximately.
So, have you seen that community grow in Armenia? Have you has it had the positive impact that you hoped that it would have?
So of course, international festivals. We have Golden Apricot and
Yeah.
we have Reanimania, which is animation film festival. They helped a lot. So we have invited very um, big names for Armenia, and guys like Bill Plimpton or Darren Aronofsky or Wim Wenders or Jos
I,
Stelling, and
I've
that's
also
a
seen Carlos Regatas in
yes,
Uli
Carlos
Seidel.
Reigadas. Yeah, many, many names. I met Reigadas last year. I presented him. It was an honor to have him in Yerevan in Armenia to talk to him, to discuss his stuff, have a Q&A with him. It was a good experience for me personally. For example, I can talk for myself. So yeah, of course, naturally, that kind of big names helped a lot. So you can talk to them. For example, our festivals, they are very cozy, and there is an opportunity to meet these filmmakers, to talk to them, to ask something, discuss. You can, I don't know, for example, if they are interested, give your card or take his contact. It's possible. It's not Berlinale or Cannes or Venice, so they are kind of available. And that kind of networking, that kind of communication, naturally, it helps us to understand better how they think, how they work, how they produce, how they collaborate. and many Armenian filmmakers. They are now, I guess, 30 something, near to 40. They saw that, how to say, couloirs, if we can use that word. They saw the uh, some festival routine, some big names during the festival days. So they, I guess, they learned how to communicate with that kind of people. So yes, they learned about festivals, about mm, some mechanism, let's say, some mechanism how international film festivals work. But unfortunately, now we have kind of lack of education. So I talk about Institute of Cinematography, and we need to have strong education for upcoming generation to create competitive, strong, great movies. Anyway, of course, naturally, film festivals and that kind of community, that kind of networking, it helps a lot, but you need a background. You need a fundament where you can like put yourself and be you know quite competitive, strong, full of energy, full of thoughts, full of ideas, and you need basis. You need basis to know how create movies, how edit, how write, how act. So I think we need to change our educational system. We need to refresh and upgrade our Institute of Theater and Cinematography.
And coming back to the curating bit of, because that's obviously separate from your role or the role that you had at Golden Apricot.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that it was a bit of an overlap because your skills from both would help. As a programmer, you could be able to curate, and as a curator, you could obviously help with the festival. But is there like, because I know that some curators are also involved in archiving films and with can you sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah. When you talk, sometimes I lost you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think there's some issue with the internet. It keeps going in and out,
Yeah, yeah.
and
I'm
I
sorry.
apologize for that. Uh, but yeah, sorry. So I was just saying that in terms of the curating bit,
Yes.
because that's obviously separate from the work that you've done at the Golden Apricot. And actually, I want to get back to that later. But have you been involved in archiving as well? Because I believe that's a small part of being a curator. Have you been involved in archiving some of the movies from Armenia, or because it does have a rich history.
Involving in what?
Archiving, archiving films.
I don't get it. I'm sorry. Can you say synonym or?
Yeah,
I
when
don't
you sort of take
understand the word. I'm
sort of
sorry.
take care of them. Oh, sorry.
So,
Maybe if I just spell it Archiving.
so like kind of regarding.
No, when you take the older films and you sort of when you either restore them or put them in vaults um,
Old
for
movies.
future. Yeah, the old movies. Do you have any? Um,
You mean retrospective? You mean?
Yeah, sort of like the retrospects and watching them, but also sort of uh, preserving them for future use. Do you have any?
Okay. Oh no, no, I got it. I got it. Uh, no, I don't have that kind of experience, to be honest. No, sometimes I write about that kind of stuff. I just like, if it's not that popular. Sometimes we no, kind of
Okay.
make some movie lists. So sometimes I write
Mhm.
about that kind of stuff for websites, and if it's available for watching, we want people to have a look at it, just to like kind of, no, let's say promote, partly promote
Yeah.
it. Yeah, but
Also to get some education of what the films were, prior to a certain period, I guess.
yeah, yeah, I know what you mean. um, we don't have that kind of many techniques for that, for restoring.
Okay.
Yeah, and for example, it was a case several years ago. Daniel Bird, if I'm not mistaken, he restored Sergei Parajanov film, but he used some international fund money for that.
Okay.
So it's like you need finance for that, I
Hmm.
guess. Also,
I guess
if
that makes
it
sense.
was,
Yeah.
I don't, is it a good answer for your
Yeah.
question?
Yeah. 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 I was just curious because, like I said, I don't know much about curation, but one of the things that I was sort of researching about curating films itself is, it goes down that line as well. Um,
Yeah,
but
so we have, for example, we have Goethe Institute of
hmm,
uh, German culture, German heritage, and
yeah.
I have a colleague. He is a film critic as well, and he shows old German stuff,
Hmm,
but they have a financial
yeah. Yeah.
part from Germany. So you need to have some kind of financial support to
Hmm,
organize that kind of stuff anyway.
hmm. I understand. You say, okay, this is what I want to show the audience in Yerevan. Is there, because I'm sure when you go into these festivals, there's so many movies that you're
Yeah.
watching. So how do you choose which one you want to
Oh,
show
uh,
to the people of Armenia?
so I think every programmer, every curator in the world, uh, like he or she, usually choose something based on his or her taste, his perspective, his or her perspective, what is good, what is necessary, what is interesting, attractive, and um, so yeah, you can generally we try to find some balance between big names and some new filmmakers. Like, if it's debut, if it's the first film, sometimes it could be raw. Sometimes it's like, yeah, it's nice, but it's a specific genre. It's specific. It's some for some film festivals, which usually find new filmmakers and show debuts. So for me, I think I'm trying to keep the balance between big names and new filmmakers. I'm trying to show movies not super professional, narrow audience
Yeah.
stuff, and not something mainstream. So for me, as a curator, I'm interested in countries which are not that popular as cinema countries in Armenia. For example, in Armenia, we usually watch American movies, French movies. It could be sometimes British, sometimes Asian, Russian. But if we say, guys, let's watch a Finnish movie, like majority will say, oh, I don't know, I have no idea about Finnish culture. I have no idea about Finnish modern cinema and Finnish cinema in general. So sometimes you want to explore, you want to explore not for yourself but for audience. You want to open a new perspective for them. Let's say I don't want to be like I don't know. I don't want to say something very fake, but it's kind of you open a new world or new country for them.
Hmm.
I mean, they know that there is a Finland, but they don't know about Finnish filmmakers. And if you find a good Finnish movie, or maybe it could be something from India, but not Bollywood style.
Hmm.
I watched 2 years ago in Venice, great movie. It was Indian. It was social, a bit, no, let's say social political. So I find it the topic, the storytelling, the story very common to my society, to Armenian problems, issues. It was about sexism. It was about a young police woman, and she had issues because she's a woman in a small Indian town. So I watched the film. I can see my society in it. I can see some local problems, and I know that Armenian society, my audience, will find themselves in that story. So if you see yourself partly, yeah, you should to identify yourself with the characters, with the character or characters or the story or the society. So if you think that okay, it's similar, and it's not only interesting for me, why not? I want to share it with the audience.
Um, and have since you've been involved in screening movies and curating movies, um, have you seen the because you've spoken about community? Have you seen the filmmaker community growing after that? As a result of watching these movies, or some sort of change in their perspective in the film
Yeah, I think yes, something has changed, uh, but now we have its era of uh, streaming platforms also, and we can see that many people who are ready for some, let's say, intellectual stuff, not mainstream. If they are into some like good quality stuff, sometimes they prefer to watch TV shows. They prefer to watch Netflix or HBO or Hulu stuff. Um, and I think it's a global issue. It's a global problem, not for only Armenia. I think it's a worldwide thing. And I don't want to call it a problem, but it's a point. It's a
Hmm.
point, and of course, if people are into TV shows, they are into that kind of genre. So sometimes, some period, they don't watch movies at all. For year, for half year, they're more into TV series.
Hmm.
So I can see the change. I can see the change. I can see that people, um, there is a group of people, I don't know, 10%, maybe 20%, some percent, some minority of the country, of the nation, who is interested in exploring. They read my articles. They want to explore. They want to find new names, maybe Scandinavian movies, maybe Latin American movies. But also there is kind of a battle between streaming services like Netflix and this kind of film. You have a product, you have a movie, you say, guys, this is a good movie, it's a small movie, but it's like quite good, you should have a look. But maybe they already watch some TV series, and they say, okay, I will finish my TV series, then I will come back to this. But after one TV series, they start to watch another one, another one, another one. So um, I think if, like, now we have this kind of various stuff, it's great. But also when you have so many things to watch, sometimes it's quite, let's say, not difficult, but
It's a
yeah,
challenge to stick to the
it's
movie.
sometimes you don't. Yeah, it's a challenge. It's a challenge. There is so many things to watch, and you need to focus. You need to focus on attention. So that's why maybe we need to create more movie lists, like thriller for or comedies or dark comedies or this or that. Uh, but we don't have that many readers. We don't have that, big audience which consume it. Because if you write in Armenian, your audience is only Armenia. Diaspora
Hmm.
Armenia is not that interested in cultural stuff. Diaspora Armenian people, they are interested in political stuff. But if you write about films, about movies in Armenian, your audience is like Armenia, and Armenian
Hmm.
is not an international language. So yeah, it's a bit complicated. It's not Russian, it's not Spanish, it's not French. So you write for a small country, your audience is small, and people who like are into good quality films, it's a small group of people. So yes, I think there is a change, and it will be better in 10 years. I'm like sure, I'm really sure in it. But also, um, also I guess we need to collaborate. We need to co-create some stuff with other guys from other countries. For example, if we invite a good filmmaker from Pakistan or other countries and show the movie, people will say, oh, I like the film, I need to research about it. So that kind of events, that kind of collaboration, it will help as well.
It's interesting that you spoke about co-productions and collaborations. Has there been a history, in well, in Armenia's recent history, because obviously Armenia only gained independence after the 1990s. So has there been some
Yeah, we have
co-production or
some,
some
but
sort of
yeah, yeah, we have some
some
co-production
sort of
things, like with Russia. We have some movies with Russian filmmakers, or sometimes, there are a lot of Armenians living in Moscow, in Russia, so
mm,
they create some Russian Armenian projects. We have a filmmaker, he collaborated with Latvia, for example. Sometimes, yes, we invite an actor, an actress, or an actress from. Uh, we have an experience with Iran, for example. Yeah, but it's not that common, unfortunately. It's not that common. The problem is also about movie law, film law. So yeah, we in our it's a governmental thing. So
mm.
it's also about politics. Fortunately, yeah. We don't have it yet. We don't have. It's now. It's in process. It's in process. Film law, and also we need to, maybe, I don't know, maybe change something inside to help outside reach us.
Hmm. It's I can hear like I know that you're talking about Armenia, but anyone listening to this conversation can any Pakistani filmmaker listening to this conversation will say that, you know what, she's talking about Pakistan, because a lot of those things are, you know, are missing in Pakistani film industry as well. And that's why it becomes difficult to make all different sorts of stories. So, like we had discussed yesterday, there's a certain kind of commercial cinema that is coming out, but that's what you primarily see, in the cinemas. And then there's a need to be able to watch, more than just the commercial stuff that is exhibited in cinemas. So that's why it's very important for Pakistani filmmakers or critics or anyone to watch these screened, so that they can see the different kind of movies out there. And
Yeah,
I think that's why it's
of
so
course.
important to have film festivals as well.
Yeah, naturally. Yeah, and maybe I don't know. We need to find some cultural funds, some grants, and try to organize as many screenings as it's possible. Like not only during festivals, like
Hmm.
monthly or weekly. Sometimes try to find some financial support from embassies or some international foundations, invite people, organize discussions, panel discussions, Q&As, that kind of stuff. Naturally, we need to talk. We need to talk more, and unfortunately, in Armenia, and I think it's kind of the same for countries like Pakistan, people use some historical stuff and create mm, not that good movies based on historical stuff. But as it's historical, it's tragic, some war things, some some sentimental um, nuances of the story, and audience like, okay, uh, they are more into national stuff. It's national stuff. They are interested. They go, they consume, they buy a ticket, but that doesn't mean that the film is good.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I understand what you mean, and I agree. I mean, with Pakistan, it's there is a bit of that nationalistic fervor that sort of sells tickets as well, or helps in selling cinema tickets. But then there's also the Bollywood style movies that have songs and dance, and they sort of let you forget your problems for a bit. I guess that's how they would put it. Um, but there's a place for different sorts of cinema to be shown, of different perspectives of how life is, different ideas,
Yeah,
of different ideas and different ways of looking at life, and not just you're not just myopic and looking at how things should be, or how you're told things should be. So I feel that cinema has that important role to play as well.
yeah,
um,
yeah. I think the problem is for us, for countries like our countries. The problem is that mm, some filmmakers take some popular cliche uh, forms of movies and try to recreate it in
yeah.
the national way, but it doesn't work because
Hmm.
you're kind of stealing uh, someone's idea, someone's way of
Yeah.
vision. And people want to see something authentic, something original. We don't want to watch a bad copy. We want to watch, it could be not that good, but we want to watch something close to original stuff. We don't want to watch a copy film which reminds us Bollywood, Hollywood, or whatever it is. We
Hmm.
want to watch original thing. We want to see something authentic. We want to see. It could be comedy, it could be tragedy, it could be drama, but we want to see something which is here. If you show us this city, if you like film this city, this country, please show this. Don't recreate something American or French or Russian or Soviet or I don't know, whatever it is.
And do you think that that need for authenticity, does it derive from, say, the literature or any other art form that is local to Armenia, that is very, something which speaks of Armenia,
You ask, do we have something like that? Or
No, like that the viewers want. Do you think it stems from something? You know.
oh, um, I think that the problem is right now for us, people usually try to talk about some national things, national issues through the cinema, uh, and maybe they they are trying to be big. They are afraid to be. Uh, let's say they don't want to create a film about something small. So they are not interested in ordinary like neighbors' lives or someone who is I know a teacher or a doctor or someone like that. They they're trying to create something great, so
Hmm.
they're more into some historical stuff, and they think that that historical stuff is authentic, and they uh, let's say reminiscing or whatever, that they skip, they don't catch the time, they don't catch the modern problems, modern issues, and they don't look straight at the problem which is around. They go back, they open some historical books about Armenian genocide or some Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, which is quite important for every Armenian. Naturally, it's quite prominent, but don't use that kind of topics to create something big. You don't need that kind of topic to create a
Hmm.
good movie. You can create good movie using very domestic story.
Okay. Um, and sticking to the whole theme of curating films, uh, in the past 9 years, have you seen seen a change in the audience in terms of like the numbers, or uh, has it has it given you any sort of hope in terms of the hunger for these sort of films, that you're talking about, the ones that are either alternative or not quite commercial exactly?
You mean the number of audience, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It depends. To be honest, it depends. If it's sometimes if it's something promoted, if it's well promoted stuff, naturally people like trying to watch, they can sit on the floor, they can, I don't know, go to all the screenings we organize. So mainly it's about promotion. Mainly it's about promotion. For example, we had Asghar Farhadi 2 years ago with his movie he showed in Cannes. It's not his best movie, but it was premiere. It was straight from Cannes, starring Penelope Cruz, Javier Bardem, and in the hall we had
Okay.
Asghar Farhadi. So yeah, so if we have, if the filmmaker is present, it helps for film for screening. But it could be not that good film comparing to another one which you have without filmmaker or without Cannes premiere. So I think it's marketing thing, it's promotion, it's about PR. And my experience, talking about my experience, I think the best thing is, as a curator, as a programmer, talk, guys, talk about stuff you believe. If you believe in this film and you have your audience like 1,000 people, 2,000 people in Instagram, in Facebook, in Twitter, whatever you have, talk with them, promote the film. Maybe it could be something from Macedonia, something from Finland, from Pakistan, from America, it doesn't matter. If you have seen the film, maybe like a year ago or half a year ago in somewhere else, not in your country, and you know the stuff, you brought the stuff to your country, to your city, I think you need to promote as much as possible. And I had that kind of experience when I brought something unknown for my audience, but I talked a lot about it. Uh, since Berlinale. I watched it in Berlinale, then we brought to Golden Apricot. And I talked so much, so often, so we had sold out. I think that kind of connection, your connection, your and your audience, that kind of uh, connection with the film is important.
I think we're having some technical issues again. So yes, people. Diana was just talking about curating as well, because you have to create uh, that interest in the film so that people can come and watch it. Well, I'm hoping that Diana can join us. I hope that whatever the internet issue is on her end, it gets solved quickly, and then she can join us. But in the meantime, so a couple of the things that we're talking about is, about curating is the need for to see different kind of stories, to be able to experience those, and you don't always have to go to a theater to watch them. You can have a small screening, and like you said, as long as you have um, sometimes you can have the filmmaker present and you can have a Q&A session, but that's not always the case. um,
I'm
so
back.
in any oh hey,
I
yes,
can't hear
yes,
you.
sorry, I was oh, can you hear me now? Hello, Diana, can you hear me?
I don't hear you.
Oh, I can can you hear me now? Is that better? can you hear me now? Is can you can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Hello. Can you?
Vivian, I don't hear you. If you hear me, I do not hear you.
I can hear you, but it's funny that how about now? Can you hear me now?
Oh yes, yes,
Okay.
thanks. Yes, I
Yep.
was using the chat to say that
Oh, okay.
I don't hear you.
No, I just took myself off the stream. I don't know. Today we're just having some really bad connection with the internet towards the end of the thing. Um, so the other thing that I wanted to sort of ask you in terms of curating is, um, you know, you said that sometimes you get these people and you fly them in like Asghar Farhadi or whatever. I'm sure that's not an easy thing to do financially. Is there do you have to look for grants for something like this, or do you get covered by do you get covered by something, or is it perhaps by the tickets, or how does that happen?
So it's much more easier with directors than with actors. Usually with directors, they ask for plus one or good quality uh, flights, naturally, and that kind of stuff. But about fees for directors. Right now, I don't remember, to be honest. Right now,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken, uh, we usually pay for plus one. They come maybe with some partners, with friends. It's much more complicated with actors, and if they are popular, famous, so yeah, they ask for like big honorars, and sometimes we don't have money for that. We can't cover it. We try to find some sponsorship for it. We try to find some brands which are interested, maybe interested in like paying for that and have some promotion as brands, as every festival, every platform do. It's a common thing naturally. um, but yeah, usually it's much more easier to connect to directors. They're interested in international culture thing. They know some big names. They're, you know, directors are more I don't want to say friendly, but more open. Let's say they're more open to explore your country, to maybe have some kind of experience. They read about your heritage, about your cultural stuff, and if they are free, if they have time, usually they come and visit.
And so, how are you financing all of that? Does it come out of, like I asked, ticket prices, or how do you manage that?
We have a fee from government, from Ministry of Culture and many other things. It's one ministry. We have money from there. We have main sponsors, but this year we don't know because it's due to COVID. The situation has changed, and it's November. The first like we postponed. First dates are November. So let's see. I think that the budget will be much smaller than previous years. Yeah, naturally we sell tickets, but price for tickets it's not high. It was $2 the evening screenings, $2 per person. It used to be $1. Before it was $1. So yeah, it's not expensive. And you can't earn money. You can't organize big festival using only that. I mean, the feedback of the audience buying tickets. So yeah, it's mainly sponsors, mainly sponsors. If we talk about Golden Apricot, it's the same for Reanimania, the biggest animation film festival, the second big festival of Armenia. Is the same for Reanimania. It get money from the same ministry, from the government, and also we try to collaborate with our cinema halls, try to show some commercially interesting movies also for them, so we can like keep the balance, show good stuff and also something commercially, no, let's say attractive, so we
Hmm.
can have some audience. We try to keep a balance. We try to show something good for us as a
Yeah.
festival, something new, something fresh. But usually, if you want to earn money, you need to also keep the balance and show something more or less famous.
And generally, just to get an idea of how many people come for these screenings, is it like, 500, 1,000, less than that, more than that?
We talk about thousands. If we talk about the whole period, if we talk just about one screening, the biggest halls are about a bit less than 500.
Okay.
So yeah, if we talk about regular cinema halls, if we talk about regular cinema halls, for example, the same Moscow cinema I mentioned before, there are two halls, 400 and something, 470, 450. And yeah, if it's a big movie, if it's, for example, Francois Ozon movie, if it's Asghar Farhadi, if it's something famous, let's say,
Hmm.
yeah, famous for large audience, usually it's sold out. If we talk about evening screenings, if we don't talk morning for us it's work time.
Hmm.
So if we talk about evening prime time screenings, usually it's sold out. And I do remember when people like sit on the floor. Also, they just come and say, "We agree. We want to watch the film. We will sit on the floor." So we had that kind of experience. We had Loving Vincent screening, animation film about Vincent van Gogh,
Hmm.
and it was a great success. It was a huge success. So we repeat. We contacted to Filmmaker and decided to show it one more time because audience was so interested. So it's about the time. It's about timing. It's about timing. It's about the popularity of the film, the popularity of the filmmaker. Um, it's so different, to be honest. It depends. You never know. You never know. Sometimes you bring a big movie and interest is not that big as you could think it must be. Sometimes you have middle class famous something, and yeah, you never know, to be honest, with countries like Armenia. Sometimes you can't expect.
I see. And because you brought up the COVID issue as well, take away from
COVID issue for what?
yourself sort of resolving this issue, where people might not be able to. Sorry, can you hear me? I
Yes,
think there was
yes.
some
Now, yeah.
disturbance.
Can you say it, please? I don't.
Yeah. So, how do you see yourself resolving this issue with people not being able to be in the same vicinity or in the same physical space? Because the whole screening is about sitting together, at a theater and watching a movie. So, how do you see that, going into the future?
So for us, if we talk about Armenia, we could use open air platforms for open air screenings. Um, but now it's the end of summer, so I don't think that it's
Hmm.
possible. It was kind of an event. It was an event. It was an event. Yeah, I couldn't attend, but it was an event. I don't know the term, but it was car watching. When you are sitting in your car
Yeah, yeah.
and there is a big screen, and yes, you are inside and you put
Yes, the drive-in.
audio.
Yeah, the driving
Yeah,
theaters, exactly. Yeah.
so it was kind of a solution. It was kind of a solution. Naturally, it's like it's not the main solution for everything, but it was kind of an option. Why not? If we talk about countries where it's summer all over the year, I think they can organize open air screenings. They can organize open air screenings, and it's realistic. It's very realistic. If we talk about other countries, I think they should use big halls, big cinema halls, and don't sit next to each other. People can just be mixed in the hall. And if we talk about, I don't know, like one, two, 300 people cinema halls. For small rooms, for small halls, naturally it's not good. Commercially, it's not good.
Mm.
But for big halls, there is a solution. And also, there is a solution if you have open air halls, summer halls.
For your, to curate the films that you're going to be getting in November. Is that the solution you're seeing for what you need to do?
Curating movies.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the first part.
Oh, okay.
Could you
No, I'm
always
saying
like
is that the solution you see to when you're curating your films? Because you said it's going to be happening in November, right?
Yes, yes. So I'm not sure that we will have a normal festival. So we don't have so because borders are closed. If you have closed borders, you can't invite filmmakers. You can't invite professionals from other countries. So but festival is also a connection, it's also discussion, it's also a talk. If we talk only about screening, yes, we can organize, we can think about it to organize screening. But I think that festival it's also discussion. You need to have some professionals to talk to them, present them, and have discussion with audience. But if your borders are closed, it's not the
Yeah.
festival.
So anyway, uh, in terms of the films that you've curated, or the filmmakers that you met because you've created, you're involved in curation. What's been the most memorable experience for you?
Um, it was a funny story about Darren Aronofsky. I
Hmm.
watched his mother in Venice Film Festival, uh, like in 2017, and I didn't like the film. And it was the world premiere in Venice, and it was the very first screening of it. And I was sitting in the hall, and in the end of the movie, there are some kind of feedback you give, you applause, or you are doing boo. So I was as a film critic, as a consumer, as an I don't know, person who was sitting there, I didn't like it, and I was booing. But next year, in 2018, we had Darren Aronofsky in Yerevan for Golden Apricot, and I was presenting him on stage, and it was the opening of his retrospective, and we was opening it with Mother, which I didn't like, which I didn't like, and so it was naturally I didn't tell him about, like, he didn't ask, I didn't tell about my feedback, but it was like, uh, let's say, funny. It was interesting experience. If we talk about some also interesting connection, it was quite interesting with Carlos Raigades last year. He was a guest of honor. He was our guest of honor in Yerevan, and there are many cases. I can't mention just only one, but usually you remember the most funny things.
Well, I guess we'll finish off on a light note and a funny note of you having to present Darren Aronofsky's film, even though you weren't a big fan. Uh, but I know that a lot of people weren't too happy with that movie. I think it was a departure from the kind of films he generally makes. So I don't think you're alone in not liking Mother. There are quite a few people who weren't too happy with that film.
Mom, можно тише? I'm sorry.
Oh no, that's fine.
It was a phone call. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um,
So we are
so
finishing, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Thank you
I'm sorry.
for.
It was a problem when you were talking. I
Oh
couldn't
no,
hear
it's
you.
fine. I think it's just generally the internet because it was happening on my side as well.
I'm
So I
sorry.
do.
I'm sorry
Oh,
for
no
that.
worries, no worries. Nonetheless, it was still a very insightful and fun talk. So thank you for that. Again, we got to keep it short because of the time. But hopefully, we'll if I ever come to Armenia, I'm sure I'm gonna try to make it to the Golden Apricot. But thank you again, and you know, take
Thank you
care of
for
yourself.
having me. Thank you for having me, and I would love to visit Pakistan, maybe after the COVID,
Yeah,
near future.
when flights resume.
Thank you very much. Have a good festival. Thank you for inviting me and having me. I hope it was helpful a bit.
But yes, definitely. Anyway, you take care. Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care. Bye. Bye.
So, guys, again, apologies for the technical difficulties we've been having. It's the internet. One of the with these sort of issues. Um, but nonetheless, it was fun talking to Diana. Fun listening to her about curating, about the Golden Apricot Festival. And I would suggest to all the Pakistani filmmakers who are watching this to go submit your movie to the Golden Apricot, learn more about it, and if you can, visit the festival. Um, because that's how you're going to meet more filmmakers. That's how you're going to build your community, and that's something that Gandhara Independent Film Festival is big on, is